By this point, the darkness had soaked into Becca's bones. Her and the other miners had been stuck down here in this pitch black cavern for what? Days? There was no way of knowing. Time meant nothing. They slept when they could. They had some rations left over. They'd ate when they were hungry. But there was no rhyme, no rhythm in this complete blackness. The first thing they established after the initial rumble and the shake was that there were 4 of us. There were 4 of us still alive in this space. And Becca she tried to keep everyone's spirits up, just use her sense of humor and try and reassure them that maybe the others who were caught in this cave-in, that they might be alive too. But as time went on, you could only sustain that cheeriness for so long. So you begin to resort to a healthy melancholy. In the darkness, they would sing. Becca would sing songs from long ago, from childhood, and they would take on such a sympathetic and sad quality, but one that just gave you that little bit of hope that there was a better world out there. But in time, the darkness would drown out those songs too, and they would remain alone in the quiet. Not the complete quiet. Someone had found a flint, and they were desperately trying to light what they could to get the fire going. Minute after minute, hour after hour. Soon the hacking just, it became maddening. And in the end, they decided they should stop. They sat in the dark and they had no idea if anyone was looking for them. In their sleep, when they could sleep, the last thing before the cave-in, the last thing that they remember seeing before the whole thing came down, the monolith. Was it real? Was it here in the dark with them? Becca once again awoke to the sound of hacking. Stop, please stop it. It's not going to light, it's never going to light. In the dark, they start accusing each other. Who's trying to light the flint again? We all know that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. But slowly they establish that none of them are lighting it. That sound, it's not flint. It's something else. Almost on cue, a sound, a rumble from a wall nearby in the dark. And just like that, the darkness gives way and a beam of light bursts out through the darkness. It was only a candlelight, but for them it was brighter than any light they had ever seen before. And soon something strange was coming out through the light, some sort of creature, some sort of hand pulling the rocks away. And then something larger birthed itself into their dark world. And as the light descended from the darkness, so too came a face. The face of an elf. Someone had come for them. G'day, welcome to another episode of Ironsworn Bitterness. It's been a while since I've done one of these things. We are following the story of Gehena, an elf who's trying to make her way in the Ironlands. All sorts of obstacles. They're trying to find a new home for herself and her mother-in-law. They're on a quest right now, maybe to build a better rapport with the village that sent them, maybe finding a new home there. And the quest is to go to Raven's Rest. Man, that's going to keep me tongue-tied for the rest of my days. In order to try and save some miners who were stuck in some sort of mining collapse. It didn't start well. The miners who were on the outside refused to help them, but Gehena and her friend Tristan were able to find a secret passage down into the dark. A strange place where weird psychological effects were occurring to their minds, whether it's the weird glow of the light, the feeling that something was in there, or the whispers that were protecting these caverns. And perhaps all of these effects were coming about because of the monolith that's buried deep down in the dark. But in that darkness, Gehena found some kind of hope. This new Ironland way of life, this new god that her ex-husband, her late husband, introduced her to did finally speak in the darkness and gave her confidence to be more herself than she'd ever been before. And with this, her and Tristan were indeed able to find the miners that were trapped in the caverns. And more than that, they're alive. They might be able to get these guys back to their families. All of this is, of course, in Ironsworn, a free solo RPG by Shaun Thomkin. I'm just literally running off the free set. I know there's a bunch of expansions and stuff that you can purchase. This is literally the free stuff. So I've been having fun with this. I'll keep pushing and keep moving forward. Let's see what happens next. So Becca. Becca is this partner of a shepherd that we met out on these travels. She had come to help build this pass. This pass just let merchants go up into the hinterlands in the north from the safe havens in the south. Possibly a good financial investment, but obviously the cave-in got her caught. She's been in here with 4 other survivors for days now. I haven't actually quite been keeping track at the time, but they've been stuck in here for days now. Some supplies that they had on them, but it's just been dark and they've just been hanging in there. And that's where we left off, with Gehena and Tristan finding them in the dark. Well, I guess when Gehena gets her wherewithal back, she's shocked to find these people alive in the first place. She just simply says, "I'm Gehena. I'm here to help you get out." And that's all she says at first. But she lowers herself into the cavern. Tristan, he also put his head through the hole into this cavern. However, he doesn't enter. Maybe he tries to, but between Gehena and her, they're like, no, stay up there. Let's just keep everything secure. Let's keep everything safe. It's a pretty small space, I'm imagining, in this sort of little cavern thing. So he is able still to hear what's going on and even shout out input. But he's going to stay there, I don't know, just in case things collapse at all. I don't know. But Gehena is going to climb into this cavern and she's going to try and gather information and establish what's going on. How are these people? Are they safe? So rolling with wit. So with that weak hit, she is able to establish that that there are the 4 survivors in here, that she meets their names, she talks to them. However, they encounter something that complicates or introduces an additional danger to the situation. So I'm going to say that as they come in with the lights, they're all alive, but as she goes around one to the other, she realizes that some of them are very badly injured. In fact, for the sake of narrative drama, let's say as the light goes around, even though Becca has been trying to buoy everyone's spirits in the darkness, she's actually been constantly nursing this pain, this injury. And as they look, they see that, I don't know, her ribs, her leg, let's see how bad it is. Is her leg broken? If not, it'll be her ribs, but is her leg broken? 50-50. Ooh, 52. Yeah, her leg is at a really bad angle. So she's been nursing that pain the entire time. In a way, at first, the adrenaline just sort of kept it off. And then the ache set in, and it was a bad ache. But again, in the darkness and the idleness, she just soldiered on with it. But now that they're looking at it, they're realizing that, again, she's been sort of sitting down most of the time in the darkness because you can't exactly feel your way around here. But now that they can see it, they can see indeed it's pretty bad. She's not going to be able to move without significant help. But as Gehena shines the torch on Becca's face, she looks at it and all of a sudden that face from her visions, remember the visions that she used to find this place in the first place? It becomes familiar. It's the same face, literally the same face that she saw before. Eyes open and then they blink. And then she asks, "Are you a friend of a shepherd?" In that moment, just tears rush into Becca's face. At that point, Gehena takes a piece of iron. She knows what to do. "Becca, I have sworn on iron to your family that I will bring life. I will preserve life. But I swear to you here in the darkness, I will get you out of here. I will return you back to your family." So we're swearing a vow here. We're going to say it's dangerous. They've gone through these caverns before. They know how to get in and out. However, she's got a broken leg. There could be other complications. So she's swearing a vow though, swearing on iron, that she will get Becca out of here safely. However, even though she swears on iron, she does indeed make that vow and she feels that resolution. Ultimately, how are they going to get her out? They had to climb through tunnels, plus there's that weird psychedelic tunnel further back. She's in an injured state. That's going to affect her mindset. What do? Well, I guess they're going to just try and gather information. Now, they've got the lamps now, at least one lamp left, and they've got the supplies that are still there. So maybe they rummage through that. Let's just say that they do indeed have some tinder stuff. It's all a bit damp, but they're at least able to get one more lamp burning in the dark. So they're actually going to look around in this little cavern that they're currently in now and see what they can find. Now, first, we have to say that in that cavern, indeed, it's only narratively appropriate. Gehena sees it again. The monolith looming in the room, its presence feeling like a fifth survivor in that earthquake. Just another presence sitting in that room. Even though it's just a monolith, there's no life, there's no movement, nothing. It just feels like it's looking at them, you know? But as they continue to gather information, what do they find? It's a weak hit. It's a weak hit. Okay, so I have ideas, but ultimately I just went with rolling on the pay the price table, and I managed to get a 76, and it says a surprising development that complicates your quest. I think it's appropriate. I think it's appropriate that as they're looking around, as they're moving the light around the room, they're exploring, they can't see any other way out. It's just getting increasingly stressful. Gehena thinks that maybe she sees, like as the shadows move, maybe there's a passage over this way. And she actually, in her search and sort of a frustration of not finding anything, she actually begins to move around the monolith and puts her hand onto the monolith. And just like that, every injury that she currently has seethes with pain. The sacrifice she made in order to find the entrance, the stab wound, the wrestling of Tristan falling on the ground and cutting herself a little bit. All of these wounds scream out. It's almost like the blood that is congealing, not just the scabs, but the ones on her arms, just all begins to burn with a painful fire. And then from where she contacted the monolith, shoots out in every direction a light. Just it's faint and it's ominous. It's nothing you could see by, but it's definitely visible. The monolith bursts into life. I'd like to say runes. I'd like to say like little gifts or whatever, but really I think the best way that I want to describe it is it just pulsates. Not like a shockwave, but like a heartbeat, like veins, like when you shine a torch through skin, you can see all the sinews. And it's not sinews, it's not veins, but that's the closest thing that Gehena's mind can comprehend as this monolith pulsates. Does the monolith speak to Gehena? 50-50? I know that you can't really see this, but a 99. I got a 99. Okay, so we're going to be rolling on some random tables, funnily enough. But to establish, I guess, the tone of this conversation that's about to happen, it's pretty ominous, it's pretty scary. We've established that this monolith has been ominous since the first time Gehena laid her eyes on it. But what happens next? What sort of tone do we have? Let's just look at theme. Idea. Suddenly, in this moment, Gehena's mind starts just flickering with thoughts, just lots of ideas, and some of them her own. Some of them are like, her understanding of herbalism, the runes, the Abba, her ex-husband. She sees the forest, she sees them leaving, she sees Raven's Rest, she sees the tree that they came in as they're walking in. She sees it, and her mind just becomes a flurry of thought. Nothing cohesive, just thought. And some of it not her own. She sees the past, she sees the future, she sees far away, she sees coffee mugs, she sees just all sorts of crazy ideas begin to flash in her head. She draws away from the monolith, but as she does so, the thoughts just get more frantic, they get faster, they get just more uncontrollable. She can't quite take it. The others, they're watching this, they're seeing her staggering, they see the pulsating, they have no idea what's going on. But as Gehena staggers around, she finds that as she moves forwards towards the monolith, the ideas keep firing, but they slow. As she staggers closer and closer to the monolith, they all start to sort of come together to some extent. They're still firing quickly, but they're more along the same lines of trouble bad, what's going on here, why is this doing that? And as they fire, she finally gets to the point where she comes up so close, she sees the monolith pulsing, and she just touches it. Was this a good idea? Yes or no? 50-50. Oh, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. I rolled another 99. Okay, I'm just going it. So in that moment when she touches the monolith, whoa, the darkness goes. The cave goes. The people go. All of a sudden, she's there, standing once more in the forest. She's standing in the forest of her childhood, of her youth, and it's peaceful and it's pleasant, like she remembers the good days. Oh, I've got an idea. That does she see someone? I've got someone in mind, and if it's not, then we'll just move on. But does she see someone standing before her? Again, 50-50, 94. As she looks around in the forest, she sees the birds, the stream, the creek, and then a voice speaks out. Hi, Gehena. She turns and she looks, but even before she sees the face, she recognizes the voice. It's her husband. Adon. Does this presence claim to be Adon? I'll just quickly roll. It does. Now, I'm going to fire this conversation off. I'll be rolling as I go to decide things, but I guess just for dramatic flow, I'll stick to the rolls, I promise, but let's just play this out. Yes, Gehena, it's me, but what am I doing here? It's daytime. There was an attack. There was a sound. Where's Thylon? Where's Naomi? I don't know. You're not meant to be here. What do you mean? Gehena looks at this man square in the face, and it is him from just every little wart and all feature, but also just that himness that's behind his eyes. But she looks at him and she says, even though she doesn't want to, but you're dead, Adon. You died not long ago. Adon looks down with confusion, but you see him processing and processing and processing. What's going on? How is this possible? Look, Gehena, she's going to try and gather information. She's going to try, is this real? Is this not real? What on earth is happening? Can she push through this veil and figure out what is happening? So as she looks around, she sees the forest, everything as it is, but now as she looks in the distance, she sees almost like the back of a set for us to understand. She doesn't see it that way. She sees a blackness, a pulsing blackness moving through the forest. She looks the other way and indeed sees on the other side that same pulsing blackness. As she looks around, she realizes that this is some sort of space, some sort of enclosure. And in the distance, she can see the black walls. She goes to approach Adon, but then hesitates, and she asks, Adon, what do you remember? What do you recall? That might explain what on earth is going on. Gather information with a +1, because they've definitely got a bond, even though he's dead. I remember the night you were getting out, and then the pain. Oh, I remember that. And I remember a prayer I begged on my dying lips. What's happening? And in that moment, you can see Adon, his mind whirring in a fury, his eyes filled with tears. Gehena can't help but look at the man that she loves suffering with just this confusion and anguish, but is it really him? Oh my goodness. He sits there whirring, confused, but then clarity. He looks up at Gehena. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what has brought me here. But I see something. I've come to reveal home. I see flooded lands. I see the marshes to the south. And as you move across the water, I see hills, rolling hills. And as you pass over the hills, I see a hidden trail going south. And there I see a lake isle and a small cabin built there of clay and wattle made, 9 bean rows, a hive for the honeybee. And there you'll find peace, dropping slow on the veils of morning. As the words are spoken, Gehena can't see what he's describing, but she sees Adon, and she feels the compassion, the warmth, the love that made her fall in love with him in the first place. And he describes this place, this home in the flooded lands, in hills, hidden trails. But their new home was meant to be in that village. That's where their new home is. Now he's talking. But all that confusion just fades away as she sees him again, standing and smiling. I love you, Gehena. I always will. She rushes forwards. She embraces him. And then he's gone. And the darkness returns. Well, that was a fun digression. As Gehena comes to, Tristan now has come down through the hole, and as her eyes adjust to the darkness, she can kind of make out his features. She's coming to, and they all sort of clear and move back and move away from her. Are you all right? What happened? Some of the party are paranoid. Oh, don't touch her, she might be cursed or something. I don't think Tristan would have that. He's like, just shut up, she's okay. Are you all right, Gehena? I think so. I think so, Gehena says. She doesn't know. She has no idea what's going on, but just after that experience, there's something in her that just feels like everything is okay. But then, from out of the darkness, from somewhere out in the passage that Gehena and Tristan have just entered from, there comes a loud, inhuman shriek. They all hear it, and they all know they're not out of the dark yet. And we'll call it there. Well, that was a bit of a random digression. Some of that I just went with my gut as far as the narrative, but some of that was rolled. But apparently, what was that? Was that a vision? Was that actually Aiden? That's the first time I've ever actually found out what his name is. Was that her Gehena's husband? Was it a trick? I don't know. That's random. And now we're in the dark with that injured person. I thought we'd maintain the fact that the vow that they swore had a complication. I know the monolith thing was kind of a complication, but it revealed a nice truth. So I thought, why not? 50-50. Is there something animalistic in the dark? Yes, there is. So here they are in the dark. Something horrible is down here, but maybe something wonderful is waiting out there for our bitter little elf. Who knows? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this, please like and subscribe. And you'll see me again later. Bye.